Hi, this is Steve for TrueHollywoodTalk.com. We're in lovely Palm Springs Film Festival International. We're with Bertrand and Normand, and he did a documentary about the Russian ballet. And he's a Frenchman, so I want to figure out how this whole thing started. Okay, welcome to True Hollywood Talk.
Hello. Good morning.
Give us your background. How did a French guy get involved in doing a documentary about the ballet over there in Russia?
Well, the story is that back in 1995, I made a trip to Russia, to St. Petersburg, and that was my first encounter with that city, and just for 3 days, and I had a very powerful impression. I mean, the city covered with snow, it was really magical, but the utmost impression was at the Mariniinski Theater, the so-called ballet. I mean, the so-called Kirov. Not only the performances, but the public, the venue itself, the corridors, the whole. It was an overall experience which stayed with me for years, and I wanted to go back to further explore what had impressed me so much, which I eventually did a few years ago. I went back to St. Petersburg, and I managed to get into the theater, to meet with the artists, with the director of the company, and then I knew what my subject was going to be.
Did you have to get permission from the Russian government? The Kirov Ballet is so famous. Had they grant you permission to do a documentary, and did they say you could do it without them interfering?
Well, at first they said, okay, please do it, which I did. But then I understood that it was not only one person in charge, and that I needed to have clearance from other people as well. So I decided to believe the one who said yes. But then it was not so simple, and it took quite some time to get permission with a contract, with a written contract. So the project for a little while was kind of blocked, but eventually everything got solved, and we managed to finish it.
What did you find out about the ballet company? Is there a lot of drama? Is it a soap opera? Is it competitive? Did you fall in love with a few Russian women? Tell us what happened.
Well, falling in love with a few Russian women, I guess, is a daily process in Russia. So it certainly has its contribution to the whole thing. But you know, what is really striking, what really struck me was the individual personalities that I encountered.
Give us some examples.
Well, for example, I mean, Diana Vishneva. She's actually coming to Newport Beach. I mean, she's coming to Orange County next month to perform with ABT. She's when you see her in the corridor, she has something. She has some kind of charisma. But it's when you start speaking to her and the smile that she has, and the way she looks at you, and then you see her rehearsing, and it's another story.
Is it a gift you think she's born with, or is it acquired through hard work? Or do you think she is who she is because she was born with that gift?
I think it's both. I think people who reach that level, they need to have been born with that gift, but then they go through a very hard education. I mean, the highest school in Russia is the Vaganova school, and she was turned down twice at that school before they accepted her. So they thought that she did not match the requirements, and eventually she became one of the top dancers of her generation.
How old is she?
Oh, now she's 30, I think.
And when something like that, how are they like the biggest celebrity can be is part of the Kirov Ballet? When she's walking on the streets, would that be like a Hollywood movie star?
A little bit. That's what I experienced. Yeah, a little bit like a Hollywood movie star. It's a legend. I mean, people from Russian ballet in Russia, they are at the very top of what you can imagine. It's very glamorous, more than it can be anywhere else.
So did Putin come down and shake your hand and make sure the documentary was okay? We're just checking.
You mean her? No.
No. Did Putin come down and talk to you about you were shooting the film, right?
Well, not Putin himself, but we had to go through some of the authorities, and. But eventually it went fine, except that it was complicated in the first place. But I really recommend everyone to at least once in their lives watch a performance, or even go just to rehearsal hall and see some of these artists just rehearsing, doing their exercises, because it's a really hypnotic experience.
Who was another temperamental, interesting personality? And then my other question is there a big difference between the men and the women in the ballet company?
Is there a difference? There certainly is a difference. You know, the first difference is that most historical ballets, I mean, most masterpieces from the late 19th, early 20th century were written for women parts. They had the most important part in the ballet. So, and the male dancer was there to support the female dancer. But as far as personalities go, you know, I don't think it's a difference between men and women. I think it's a difference between individuals. I've encountered very strong personalities, very distinctive, and it shows in real life and it shows on stage.
Let me ask you, Bertrand, you're from Paris. Do you live there now as your home, or are you based in Los Angeles? What are you doing now?
Oh, yes, I'm based in Paris. I'm working on a new project also in Russia.
What's that about?
It's about people who have a passion in history and who do reenactments of battles from the time of Napoleon. What's
your background? Why did you do your Russian history major? What got you so involved as a Frenchman in Russia? What was it?
Well, I think that when I was a kid, the mere fact that my mother gave me some Russian books to read and Russian music to listen to, I don't have any history, I mean, in my family with Russia. It's just a taste that I acquired with years and my first trips to Russia. And the fact that it was separated by the Iron Curtain for so many years and suddenly it became open with Perestroika. And it became a place, a huge space that suddenly became possible to visit and explore.
I got to ask you this. Let us know on TrueHollywoodTalk.com, and this is The Secret is Out. Now, Bertrand, I want to know.
Yes.
You're a Frenchman. Who's sexier, Italian women or French women? Now, tell the truth here on TrueHollywoodTalk.com.
If we speak about the eyes and the eye expressions of women, given my last trip in Rome, I would say maybe the Italians.
Okay. Now, I'm going to give you a second comeback, okay? Who's the most stylishly dressed?
Oh, between Italians and French.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know.
Next time we're having a show, we'll talk about the Spaniards. But, you know, I was just telling you, I just watched this documentary on IFC about the French beauty. But I want to thank you for coming on. That sounds like it's unusual. And I like unusual people that are doing unusual things. When you see a guy who grew up in Paris, France, and he's doing stuff about the Kirov Ballet in Russia, that tells me, you know, you're just not following the same thought process everybody else. You're beating your own drummer. And that's, to me, something interesting. Is there anything you're going to do outside of Russia? You're going to come to Hollywood and do a romantic comedy with Drew Barrymore?
Yes.
What else?
Well, no, actually, I make documentaries in other countries. I made a documentary in Burma before the one about the Kirov Ballet, about a Buddhist monk considered as a holy person and who created a territory out of the grasp of the military junta. I want to make other documentaries in other countries as well. I want to make dramas, I write scripts, and I want to make romantic comedies in the United States as well.
I want to thank Bertrand for coming on and talking about his documentary about the Kirov Ballet and admitting that even though he's a Frenchman, those Italian women are pretty sexy too. Thank you for coming on the show.